Hi, my name's Jack Buser, and I'm the director of PlayStation Home for SCEA, Sony Computer Entertainment America. As you know, PlayStation Home is what we call a 3D social gaming community. It really is a social network for gamers on the PlayStation 3. As you can see here up on the screen, it's not very crowded, it's just me. And that's because today is the day before open beta launch, when we're going to make PlayStation Home available to the PlayStation community at large. And actually what I'm showing you here is actually on the pre-production servers. So this isn't even live yet. We thought we'd show you guys a behind the scenes look at what's going to be going live tomorrow. Tomorrow is open beta, which is what we've also called launch. And so essentially open beta, the reason why we're calling it this on the 11th is because we really want to reinforce this notion of beta, because it really speaks to the idea of home, the core concept that this is a living, breathing world, that there is always new content, new virtual items, new mini games, and new technology that brings new features, new functions, new possibilities to PlayStation Home, such that 6 months down the road, it's going to be a very, very different PlayStation Home than what you're going to see on day one. And 6 months after that, 6 months after that, again, this world is going to continue to evolve and continue to grow and continue to change. So we really wanted to reinforce that with this idea of open beta, to encourage the PlayStation 3 community to keep that feedback coming, to jump in the PlayStation Home forums, tell us what kinds of things they want to see, what's working, what's not, what kinds of spaces do they want to see, what mini games do they want to see, what virtual items do they want to have happen, because that's really what guides our development of PlayStation Home. You're looking at a newly redesigned Central Plaza, and this has really been designed based on community feedback from the closed beta. With PlayStation Home, it's not us sitting up on a mountaintop somewhere deciding what's cool and what cool things we can bring into PlayStation Home. We're actually actively engaging with the community and asking the community, hey, tell us what you want to see in PlayStation Home. And that's the kind of stuff we're going to be bringing into Home. Now here in the Central Plaza, you see that philosophy being put into action. First thing you run into is an interactive mini game right here in the plaza where 4 players can play at once. The new game called UFO Pop. You are a UFO. There's all these bubbles floating around. Bubbles have sort of become the unofficial symbol of PlayStation Home, thanks to all the bubble machines people drop to start dance parties. You float around, it's just all about getting a high score, avoiding bombs, and getting to know people while you play this game. Really, all of the interactive activities and mini games in PlayStation Home, while they're great interactive mini games, they're really all about getting to know people and really adding meaning to that friends list so that those people on that friends list are people that you really know. So in PlayStation Home, you really have 2 ways to navigate. First of all, I can navigate just very organically by running through the Central Plaza as you see right now, so I can actually just run into the plaza. But for power users of PlayStation Home, they're going to just want to pull up the world map here, which is a 2D representation of PlayStation Home, and really it gives you the ability to just jump instantly between the different areas in Home. So if I want to just jump to the home theater, I just go click here and off I go. Now you'll see one of the new things that's available in the client is I now have the ability to download in the background. So even though I haven't been in this space now, rather than sit here and wait for this space to download, I can actually just hit triangle, boom, and now it's starting the download of this. I can go back, I can play mini games, hang out. When it's ready to go, boom, it'll notify me and I can just jump into whatever space I want. Even on very reasonable internet broadband connections, you're able to quickly navigate around the world because we do store a certain amount of this stuff locally on your machine, such that you can very quickly navigate between areas, and it will store the parts of the area that haven't changed. Anything that's dynamic or new will then be streamed and buffered into the environment there dynamically on the fly, so that even if you have a very reasonable broadband connection, you're able to quickly relocate between spaces, which is quite cool. One of the other things you'll see in the plaza right now is here on day one, we're going to have a promotion actually running for Twilight. This is a co-promotion we're actually doing with some of our movie studio partners, specifically Sony Pictures, who's actually going to be promoting and showing clips from the movie inside of our movie theater. One of the cool things about the movie theater is that you're actually able to enable something called social viewing of video content, meaning that when you're watching video in PlayStation Home, if you're watching it with other people, you can actually see those people around you, and you can actually talk about what you're watching. We have the technology to do just about any kind of video content you could imagine, from trailers to exclusive content to behind-the-scenes content, and even full-length movies and TV shows are theoretically possible. Again, this is the day before launch. No one's here yet, but you can imagine tomorrow these seats are going to be filled with people all commenting on what they're seeing on the screen. They're all going to be talking together, forming micro-communities. What happens oftentimes in these movie theaters is just parties break out. Somebody will drop a bubble machine and people will start, yelling, screaming, and having a blast, and people will be dancing in the aisles and stuff. And you know what? That's fun. That's just totally awesome. And it allows people to really rally together around their favorite video content. It's a total blast. This is an update to something we have called Listen at Home. One of the huge things to do in PlayStation Home is to actually dance. And people in PlayStation Home love to stand around and just dance the night away and talk about their favorite games, and they actually form subcultures. They all dress the same and do like synchronized dancing. It's just like dancing in the real world, right? It's something to do while you get to know the people around you. Well, the new Listen at Home actually brings some new stuff to the table. As you see, as I walk up, the menu populates. It brings a list of tracks that are available, and everyone on the dance floor gets to come in and vote on what track they want to play next on the dance floor. So it's sort of like an interactive social DJ that the dance floor controls. Tomorrow, when you turn on your PlayStation 3, you're going to notice that there's a home icon in the PlayStation Network column right across Media Bar, right? You click on that icon and boom, your client will download and you'll be in PlayStation Home. Totally free to use. You can go visit all these different spaces, do social viewing of video content, jump to the game theme spaces, meet friends, get to know them, launch into games together, all at no cost to you. But as you probably are well aware, there's going to be, some folks that kind of want to stand out from the crowd a little bit. And for them, there's the mall. And here's where you're going to be able to go and buy premium items to customize your avatar, customize your apartment, to really stand out from the crowd. Now, you don't have to, right? But there will definitely be a certain portion of people that just really want their identity inside PlayStation Home to be highly, highly customized, to really represent them. And for them, there's the mall. We're going to have not only stuff created by us here at Sony, but we're going to have all kinds of stuff also created by third parties. We've already announced Diesel will be offering some of their fashion line inside PlayStation Home. We've got furniture from a high-end contemporary furniture designer called Lean Rosé. We've got premium, even personal spaces and apartments that you'll actually be able to buy here in the mall. So here we are. Up here is a really popular area in the mall. It's chess tables. One of my first experiences inside PlayStation Home was really this aha moment when I came into Home, and it was very, very different than anything I had ever experienced before on a game console. Came into Home and just wondering, what's Home all about? Really, why Home? And sat down at a chess table, and somebody else sat down with me. We just started playing chess. I just started talking. I hadn't played chess in years, and we just started talking about chess. And this guy was, he was pretty good, and just started showing me some moves, showing me some strategy, and it was just awesome. I was thinking, man, this is so incredibly powerful, even for chess, right? Let alone like the latest first-person shooter, right? I mean, it's just incredibly powerful. And along with learning something about chess, I actually learned something about the guy that was sitting across from me. In fact, we were both talking on Bluetooth headsets, and I've got a 3-year-old. Turns out he had a 3-year-old too, and you could hear him in the background on the headset. I'm like, oh yeah, you're a dad too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad. And we started talking about being a dad and like, what movies we were watching, what cool kids movies we had seen. And you know what? I added that guy to my friends list. We've been friends ever since. I've never met him in the real world. But yeah, he's a real friend of mine. And I met him inside PlayStation Home. Never met him in the real world. That's so cool. It really speaks to the power of the platform. This here, if you look off in the distance, is actually the new personal apartment. This is your place to call your own, right? So inside your personal apartment, you can actually decorate it as you see fit. It is your space. Nobody gets in there unless you invite them, right? So that is your place to call your own. It's a great place to talk about things you might not want to talk about in public, like game strategies and things like that. And again, this is yours to own and decorate as you see fit. If you don't like the one that comes free with the client, go to the mall and pick up that lakeside apartment that you always wanted. So inside the apartment, we have a variety of different items that you can use to customize. So you'll have not only static items such as decorations. You might have things you can put on the shelves. You might have furniture and couches and things like that. But you're also going to have interactive items as well. So I'll just kind of leave that up to the community to go into the mall and see what interactive items and items are actually there on day one. But keep checking back, because there's going to be new items coming all the time into the mall, and new kinds of items as well. So stay tuned. This is the actual apartment that comes free with the client. So you can see this is what we call the Harbor Studio. And it really is a beautiful personal space. Ocean view, it's kind of our thank you to the PlayStation 3 community. I live So these are just some items that I've just thrown in here very quickly. Again, these are all items that come free with the client. So we do give you plenty of items to go in here and start customizing and call the space your own. As I did mention, we do have some real furniture designers who are coming into PlayStation Home and doing custom furniture. Let's just take this particular chair here. One of the cool things about PlayStation Home is that everything is actually physics-based. So if I want, I can actually go a little bit crazy here, and I can actually throw this down on top of the couch. And you find people just doing some really, really creative stuff, even with the built-in stuff, creating sort of like bleachers and stacks of stuff and creating really totally avant-garde sculptures and stuff like that. And you can just have a ton of fun, even with just the built-in items. So, you know, thanks to the very robust physics engine inside PlayStation Home as well, you can get very, very creative, even with the default furniture. There will also be additional stuff offered for free. So we do also have a system of rewards inside PlayStation Home. And some of these rewards will be well known, some of them won't. So what a reward is, it's a virtual item that you're given based on some kind of activity inside Home or in a game, right? So you might find that you stumble across some, you know, secret thing inside Home, and then all of a sudden you have a new piece of clothing or a new furniture item or even a new place to live that you just kind of stumbled across and found. Or maybe you're playing an arcade game and you reach a certain score or a certain level, you're given a reward that then you can wear and rock as part of your identity inside PlayStation Home. So a lot of customization options will be made available via purchase, but some customization options will only be made available based on your activity, which is really, really exciting. And again, some of that stuff will be pretty non-obvious. You're going to have to go and find it and explore around a bit. So here I'm going to pull up in the world map, and again here I'm going to show you some of the specific game themed spaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to Uncharted Sully's Bar. And actually this is a very, very cool space themed around Uncharted in Sully's Bar. Essentially what we're showing is we're showing an environment that's themed off of Uncharted. Inside of this bar you'll find lots of stuff hanging on the walls, hanging out, that kind of hint at things that are sort of non-obvious. And I won't go into too much detail. I'll leave that up to the community to discover and uncover. But it's just, first and foremost, it's a great place to go. If you're playing through Uncharted and you want to meet other people to kind of find where a particular artifact is, or you want to find how to get past a particular level, you can always find people in here who are experts on the game. For new people that might have missed the original Uncharted the first time through, just picked up a PS3, it's a great place to go and talk about, yeah. But there's also tons of stuff to do inside of Uncharted itself. Here we find an arcade that actually has a little 8-bit game that's themed after Uncharted. And actually, if you beat the game, well, you know, I'll keep that secret. I'll leave that up to the community to discover. But you also see these doors, and these doors are locked with keypads. So I'm not quite sure how you would go in those doors or what you might find behind those doors. And again, I'll leave that up to you to figure out. Again, this space is actually filled with things to do, filled with things to discover and uncover, all kinds of cool hints and tips and tricks about the game, but also maybe some other special things that you might be able to uncover. These game spaces, they really serve a couple different functions. First and foremost, they're a gathering place for the community around a game. So if you have an online multiplayer game like Warhawk, we've announced that upcoming there's going to be a Warhawk space. The Warhawk space is a great place to go if you want to find other people to launch into Warhawk with. As you may know, inside PlayStation Home, certain games actually enable the ability to game launch, such that you can actually configure an entire online game inside of PlayStation Home, right? So, you know, what level do I want to play, what time limit do I want, you know, et cetera and so forth. You configure all that stuff inside of PlayStation Home, right? Then you say, okay, create the game, and then you go around and say, hey, who wants to play this level of Warhawk with me? Who wants to play this level of this game? I'm going to be this character, et cetera and so forth, right? And you see people say, yeah, I'll play that game with you, but you know what? I'm not so sure I want to play with a time limit. Why don't you change that to infinite time, and I'll play with you, right? Once you've got enough people that have agreed to play the game, you actually launch directly from Home into that game. You bypass all the configuration screen because you've already configured it inside Home. You play that level, boom, when you're done, you're back into Home. This actually brings back something very, very important that's been missing from online play on legacy game consoles, which is this idea of bringing back a lot of that enjoyment that we used to have with multiplayer games, back when multiplayer meant plugging multiple controllers into the front of the game game console, right? This sort of social nature of being able to jump from game to game and talk about exactly what you want to play. Home brings that back. It's so exciting. It's totally going to change the way people play games online, and these spaces are perfect for finding people that want to play that particular game you want to play. But it's very easy. In order to launch a game, you just pull up your 2D menu, and you'll just see game launching right here. And then when you go to game launching, if you have a game in your Blu-ray drive that supports game launching, you'll see all those options exposed to you. You configure it, and then you create game. You'll see a little game icon over your head saying, hey, you have created this session. I want to play this game. You run around, you can find people. So essentially here, you also have the ability to create clubs in PlayStation Home now. So what a Clubhouse is it's a place where you can start a club with your friends based around any interest you might have. So actually, I'm really into tech now. So I've actually started a club based around techno music, so don't make fun of me, those of you that are watching this out there. But yeah, I'm really into it, and you know what, I've met tons of people that are into the same thing. We've formed this club, and we just meet up and just talk about music. But you can also form clubs to talk about whatever you want to talk about, right? Your favorite game, your favorite type of game, your favorite movies, your favorite movie genre, any of a number of things. You can create these clubs. The club leader can leave messages for the club members saying, hey, let's all meet up here at 8 o'clock and launch into a particular game, arrange tournaments and stuff like that. So it's really, really a powerful feature. And it's an example of something that we've added very recently to PlayStation Home as the technology has grown, such that this is something that just didn't exist a few months ago inside PlayStation Home. And we're constantly going to be adding new technology and new features to really reinforce this idea of community building and really empowering users to create their own community experience. And Clubhouse is just a great example of that. Talking about a sponsored area in general, I'm actually going to go to a space themed after Far Cry 2. And this was actually the first space in PlayStation Home actually created by a third party, in this case Ubisoft. It was actually our first third-party publisher to really take advantage of Home and really go and build a full-on environment. It actually launched before the game. So it gave gamers a great way to come in. People that were fans of the Far Cry franchise could actually come in here and get a feel for what the upcoming game was all about. There's all kinds of secrets scattered around here where you can learn more about the game. There's an interactive map where you can strategize about your battle strategy and figure out some tactics for the game. So it's also got some mini games. I don't know if you're familiar with Mancala, but here's sort of a special version of Mancala done with bullets, which is actually cool. And again, it just gives you something to do while you meet other fans of Far Cry 2, and is a wonderful space. You're also going to see spaces come from folks like Red Bull, who aren't game publishers. And a lot of these consumer brands are very, very excited about coming into Home because here they can recreate some really exciting mini games and interactive experiences themed after their brand and really bring these totally immersive interactive experiences to the PlayStation audience and provide some really, really compelling content for some of the PlayStation audience's favorite brands. So you might have seen our announcement on the Red Bull space. So if you're interested in how that looks and what that's all about, go to the PlayStation blog and you can actually see a video of this air race game that's themed after their Air Race World Championship. It's totally awesome. It's super fun. I can't wait till everybody plays it. I think you also might have noticed from our announcement this morning that we have every major game publisher on the PlayStation 3 on board with PlayStation Home. PlayStation Home brings a lot of value to games that just simply isn't possible on any other platform, really extending the world of the game into PlayStation Home. And there's so many different ways that Home and games can tie together, whether it be these spaces, game launching, rewards, interactive strategic items to help you better plan your battle strategies or tactics for a particular game. I talk a lot about the Warhawk Sand Table, where it's actually a sand table that a bunch of people can stand around and actually talk about their strategies for a particular map inside Warhawk, and you can see what other people are doing on the sand table and actually plot out your strategies and comment on each other's strategies. And this item is there to really sort of facilitate this kind of discussion. And again, this is the kind of thing that is only made possible with PlayStation Home, and a totally unique experience. So as you can imagine, for game publishers, PlayStation Home is a tremendously powerful tool. Not to mention, it's a great way to expose people to new franchises or new games, new iterations on a franchise that'll be coming to market. You'll see a lot of these spaces actually launch before the games themselves. So, am I excited about what's coming up? You betcha. In fact, most of the stuff that's going to be coming for PlayStation Home actually won't even be created by us. So So this is our bowling alley, and it's filled with a variety of different things to do inside the space, including pool tables. And again, it's empty right now because this is the day before launch, and this is actually on our pre-production server. So tomorrow it will be packed. You have pool and bowling. It's just like pool and bowling in the real world. They're great games of pool and bowling, but it's really there to give you something to do while you get to know somebody, so you really know them when you add them to your friends list. But of course, you know, being gamers, one of the first things we put inside PlayStation Home was an old school arcade. And actually, one thing you'll notice if you've been a tester for a while is some of these arcades are new. We actually have a version of Echochrome in here, as well as a new game called Icebreaker. And I would really encourage people who are new to PlayStation Home to try to get in on these arcades, because there's some special surprises if you play them for a while. And again, a lot of the games inside PlayStation Home have the ability where you can actually play them for a certain amount of time and actually earn rewards, which could either be clothing, interactive items, custom furniture. And what's going to happen in a lot of the newer arcades that you're going to see coming into PlayStation Home is that we're actually going to have networking enabled, such that you can actually have lots of multiplayer games to play together and have conversations and view each other's high scores and have tournaments. Things like that will be coming very, very rapidly in PlayStation Home. Our closed beta testers for PlayStation Home have been absolutely amazing. They've really helped guide the future of this platform. You know, some of our beta testers have been there since day one of closed beta and have given us such valuable feedback. In fact, what the PlayStation 3 community will see on day one of open beta is really a result of their hard work. And so, you know, for us, we really wanted to say thank you to those closed beta testers in a very special way. And so, for a limited time, we've actually sort of opened up the mall with some virtual items that we've priced for free. So if you're a closed beta tester out there, and you're seeing this in time, rush into that mall quick and grab everything you can. PlayStation Home is a relatively short download. And the cool thing about PlayStation Home is that it is an expanding world. So over time, we're going to be bringing in new spaces, new content, and the more you explore, the more content you can download off the network. So it's really up to you, you know, how far you want to explore in the world of PlayStation Home. It's going to scale pretty rapidly. I think people will be impressed. But that's part of what's so key about PlayStation Home is, yes, please come in on day one, hang out, you know, enjoy, explore around. But rest assured, you should come back soon, because it's going to be growing very quickly. Keep coming back in, because we're going to be adding new stuff, new functionality, new content, new spaces, new partners, new mini games, all the time. Some of those things we're going to announce, and some of those things, you know, if you want to get the head start, you're just going to have to know about it because you were there. And even if I could tell you about some upcoming things, I wouldn't dare tell you about everything, because some stuff we're just not going to announce. You just have to be there to experience it. And that is what is so cool and exciting about this, is that you might just stumble across something at some point and just be like, wow, I didn't even realize this was there. You know, PlayStation Home is not a game. It's a platform, right? We have built what you see here on screen is just the icing on the cake, right? I always say the cake itself is actually the development platform that allows people that are not Sony to create content for PlayStation Home. It's much more akin to creating a game console than it is a game. And so we have so many people, whether they be consumer brands, game publishers, media companies, all creating content for PlayStation Home, so that this world is going to scale very, very rapidly. It's super exciting, and some of the things that these third-party publishers are doing right now is absolutely amazing. It is so gratifying to see what folks are able to do with this technology. It's amazing. Simply put, PlayStation Home could not be done on any other platform. The fact that this is a living, breathing world, it's ever growing, we're constantly bringing new spaces, new content. The only reason we can do this is because we have hard drive built into every single PlayStation 3. The same is true for the communication options, right? I can take any old USB keyboard that I've got laying here and I can plug it right in the front of my PlayStation 3 and bam, I'm up and running with text chat. I can take any old Bluetooth headset and I can pair it with my PlayStation 3. Every PlayStation 3 has Bluetooth. It's these simple points that just really speak to the power of the hardware, and this kind of experience just simply could not be provided on any other platform. Add to that the graphical richness, high definition graphics, and just the overall robustness of the platform, and it really becomes a huge differentiator for the platform. It's frankly something that you could not do on any other platform today.